Continuing the momentum of development in 2015, stepping into 2016, the Vietnamese real estate market shows dynamic signals, especially with the strong involvement of foreign investors. According to experts, in 2016, real estate continues to be an attractive investment channel for foreign investors, especially American investors, since this market shows positive growth on track of rehabilitation. Moreover, opportunities are ensured with establishment of TPP and other free trade agreements between Vietnam and partner countries in the coming time. Specifically during the visit of President Obama to Vietnam in recent days, Michael Kelly, Senior Executive Chairman of the Grand Ho Chi Minh Strip, signed a memorandum with Cotec Construction Joint Stock Company on expanding the resort complex, the Grand Ho Chi Minh Strip, worth $75 million. Or earlier, Jonathan Hạnh Nguyen and three leading investors in the US have decided to invest $4 billion in Thủ Thiêm, Ho Chi Minh City, in a project that turns Vietnam into a key financial center and stock exchange of the region.
Greetings to all viewers of Shine Vietnam VTC 10 at this channel. In the last few years, we have seen many investors coming into Vietnam's real estate market, including American investors. And along with President Obama's visit in May, this is an opportunity to enhance the relationship between the two countries in every aspect, especially in real estate market. Today, we have a talk with Mr. Alex Grant, General Manager of Cushman Wakefield, to know more about this. Hello, Mr. Grant. Thank you for coming to our show.
Sure. Hi, thank you for welcoming me. Hopefully I can give you some interesting insight into the real estate market in Vietnam.
Vietnam's real estate market in the second quarter of 2016 saw positive changes. So what can you say about these changes?
The economic situation here has stabilized quite dramatically over the last year and a half. So we continue to see the benefits of that. GDP forecast for the year is around 6.6% against the government forecast or target of 6.7. So a very stabilized economy for us to be working in. So the real estate market will benefit, of course, through the stabilization, through the wider economy. Residential development is performing well across most cities. We're seeing a lot of expansion in commercial sectors, particularly through industrial and manufacturing. I would say the one sector that's perhaps not performing as well through the back of this is the retail segment, but newer, better developed malls are showing signs of improvement. If you look at places in Ho Chi Minh City like Aeon, SE, Vivo City and the Crescent. So there are some positive stories there as well.
So Ho Chi Minh City is seen as the highlight in the real estate market, especially in attracting foreign investors. So what is your comment on this?
It's an interesting first 4 months for Ho Chi Minh City. Foreign direct investment was actually down around 50% into the city, but we're seeing continued interest, and we're not feeling great concern about that versus 2015 that was abnormally high. So the figures may not be completely telling of the true story. But the city is performing well. The activity in apartment sales in Ho Chi Minh City is outperforming Hanoi. Again, a lot of industrial and manufacturing is moving down from the south, and that's across all of the types of manufacturing from low to high level. And the multinational companies are always headquartered in Ho Chi Minh City and are going through phases of expansion across most sectors. So Ho Chi Minh City for sure does continue to be the most prominent market in Vietnam, probably with the exception of in the hospitality sector, where others will look at perhaps Phu Quoc or Da Nang.
So American investors paid special attention to Vietnam's real estate market. So what is the attraction point of Vietnam real estate market in the eyes of American investors?
We're also seeing ongoing reforms in the banking sector and with a lot of the state-owned enterprise companies, which increases that level of confidence as well. Specific areas of target, I guess, for the US companies have been in manufacturing and industrial. We haven't yet seen them so much in the sort of operational investor markets, but they have been quite prominent in the hospitality sector as well. I think of around $6.7 billion of investment, approximately 40% has gone into hospitality from US investors.
If earlier Vietnam's real estate market highlighted in the segment of medium-cost apartments, now the trend is switching to hospitality and resort segment that are attracting more domestic and foreign investment. That is also the radar of the US investors, as confirmed by a representative from the US Chamber of Commerce in Vietnam.
Depending on the year in Vietnam, you know that people feel differently about real estate. We have a lot of American investment in real estate. A lot of the beach resorts you see going up, high-end apartment and condo buildings, all kinds of mixed-use office development. There's a lot of American investment already, and people look at certain sectors of Vietnam's real estate market as being quite attractive for future growth.
Bây giờ còn quá sớm để đưa ra chính xác con số mà chúng tôi sẽ đầu tư vào một dự án tại Việt Nam. Có lẽ con số này khoảng 300 triệu đô la Mỹ. Chúng tôi không chỉ đầu tư vào cơ sở hạ tầng du lịch, giao thông mà còn một số lĩnh vực khác. In addition to foreign direct capital, the US investors also invested in real estate market in Vietnam through other channels such as merging and acquisition, joint ventures or transferring of shares to develop the projects. Particularly in recent years, many real estate companies have been funded by the US investors. Recently, the American Investment Fund Global Emerging Market or GEM has pledged to pour $20 million into Hoàng Quân real estate company. Currently, the southern area of Ho Chi Minh City is conceived as a bright spot for foreign investment. Although some real estate companies with foreign investment have existed and developed in this area, that is still an attractive destination for US investors.
Phú Mỹ Hưng là một công ty có vốn đầu tư nước ngoài lớn nhất. Bên cạnh đó thì tập đoàn Nam Long cũng đã có thu hút cái quỹ đầu tư từ Nhật Bản, từ Singapore và của ngân hàng thế giới. Cho nên chúng tôi tin rằng trong thời gian tới ở khu Nam Sài Gòn sẽ tiếp tục thu hút nhiều cái quỹ đầu tư thế giới của các nước đến, mà như hiện nay chúng tôi đang thấy có một sự quan tâm rất lớn của các quỹ đầu tư của Nhật Bản, của Singapore, của Hồng Kông cũng như là của châu Âu. Trong thời gian tới có thể sẽ có một sự gia tăng đột biến, đó là các cái thu hút cái đầu tư từ phía Hoa Kỳ.
Defining the dynamic picture of real estate market in Vietnam, the Wealth Report 2016 by real estate consulting firm Knight Frank, published recently, ranked Vietnam as one of 3 countries worldwide worth investing in real estate above both Germany and the US. What most important is that new regulations introduced in 2015 have been implemented to promote foreign investment, especially American investors to Vietnam, as TPP is soon to officially take effect.
So normally, which sector would they focus on?
It's so again, we've got this position of sort of traditional investors into real estate that might look at operating assets or development, and then we've got a lot of investment coming into real estate through the sort of manufacturing or corporate, a more corporate level. So if we look at the disbursement from US firms, most of that's coming through the corporates. So that would be going into offices, but indirectly through occupation as opposed to investing. But they do invest more in manufacturing. So we do expect more growth directly as cash going into whether that's land, existing buildings, or expansion of existing industrial manufacturing facilities. We're seeing a bit more improvement through the hospitality sector as well as a hot or relatively hot segment for the US investors. Of course, one big case where we've had a US investor is Warburg Pincus coming in and investing in Union Union Square in Ho Chi Minh City. But aside from that, we haven't seen any major US players come in and partner with a local group. If you look at that case specifically, they're going through a phase of remodeling that mall. It wasn't performing as well earlier on, so they're actually taking an active management approach to that project.
So comparing with other investors, what are the comparative advantages that American investors have in Vietnam's real estate market?
I think the main advantage, well, if we look at the investor profiles again from those that are coming in from the US, so a lot of the investment we're seeing is actually into the corporate side of real estate. So they're coming in as manufacturers and they're coming in as large corporates. So of course we're seeing great benefit in their operations and the networks that they're bringing in and the cross-border trade also that those companies are going to create and the general wealth creation within Vietnam, as well as they're supplying jobs and product to the local market. We'll see also, as I touched on with the hospitality sector, we'll start to see a better level of operation through a lot of this, which ultimately will hopefully have a knock-on effect on positive numbers with tourism and more tourists from the US. So there's a lot of indirect benefit from some of the expertise that they're bringing in. I think this is the critical part to most of these investors is the expertise.
The United States and Vietnam have made big strides in bilateral relations, especially with the visit of President Barack Obama in May. So can you give your prediction of American investment in real estate market in the future?
It is quite a historic moment for Vietnam and the US. I think some very positive discussions I hope will come out of this visit. But looking back, we've seen many years of improving relations, whether that's through trade or any other area. And so it's that level of confidence again is growing. Talking to our clients overseas, certainly Vietnam is featuring more in conversation, again through that corporate and commercial sphere. Vietnam is now very much on the radar for particularly US firms, but others around the region as well. And this growing prominence and this growing relationship between the two countries no doubt is going to have a positive impact on real estate. Where I see it, again, probably having most effect is through industrial manufacturing, as the firms are going to start coming in, expanding more, perhaps investing more, as they become more confident with doing business in Vietnam. A lot of that has been based off the TPP and other free trade agreements, and a lot of hard work's been going into that for a number of years. So the outlook is very positive if Vietnam can continue the stability economically. US firms are going to want to continue to invest, mostly through that commercial sector. Hopefully we'll see more investment direct into development and operational assets, but it's the corporations driving investment from the US, and for sure that will continue.
So do you have any recommendations to the government of Vietnam in promoting foreign investment in general and American investment in particular into Vietnam's real estate market?
I think understanding the customer is important, and Vietnam's got a great track record of how they've really improved the saleability of Vietnam to US corporates, particularly looking again at that manufacturing position and how much business Vietnam has attracted from these groups. I think if it's understanding those guys is the critical part. Now, US firms typically are more cautious, they have heavier regulation than a lot of companies from other parts of the world. So understanding the process of these companies and what they need to come and do business is probably the critical part. And it always translates back to transparency and ease of doing business through regulatory approvals within Vietnam as well. People don't talk about the TPP in the same light, but it actually will help companies do business here for a lot of the non-commercial factors that we don't consider so much. So things like improvement in supply chain or protection for intellectual property. These are main considerations for US companies, which may not always be talked about openly when we're looking at country by country, but having that protection as part of TPP is a massive benefit and will help them go through their process and selecting the locations or countries that they're coming to do business in.
Thank you so much for your time. I hope that through this you can understand more about the trend of American investment in Vietnam's real estate market. Thank you for watching. Goodbye and see you again.